Welcome back to Factorio MSX Gigabase, our marathon tech-priced SpaceX on extreme settings, where all these little things that this guy's just tossing out there are actually much more expensive than they are in the standard vanilla version of SpaceX. And as you can see, we have an awful lot of them to launch. We are about to toss into the sky about another 80 of these things, bringing us very close to completion on whole components, so I thought I would quickly catch that for you, as well as update you on a few other things. Let's just go and have a quick look at, we're not actually down there, that's why your ears are being spared. Let's have a look what we've got sitting here. We've got 5 there, we have 5 there. We have made 240. It's just waiting on these guys. So yes, there's exactly 10 to go. We will probably see quite a few of those by the time this thing has finished launching, because we are actually using a lot of the low density structures in things other than just the rocket launchers, so that could be an issue. That is about as small as I've seen the open requests for some time, just because I guess what we're building at the moment is a relatively lighter load on the factory. Let me have a sip of coffee while we watch the second lot. Glorious sight as always. So we have actually been up to a few things. First let's have a look at 1 hour. Let's have a look at 1 hour. So we turned off the other modules, but as you can see, speed module 3, 220 solid, 1 hour, no problem whatsoever. The factory is hardly even worrying about it at the moment. In fact, over the last hour we've actually been making copper and using copper, or not using, but making copper at a faster rate than iron, probably due to the usage of circuits. Red science has been rock solid at 12,000 per minute. In fact, if we go 10 hours, red science is probably still rock solid at 12,000 a minute, not in production for some reason. Maybe we overbuilt it slightly before we turned it on to 12. But certainly in usage, and over the last hour obviously we've been catching up slightly, so it doesn't really matter. Here we go again. So yeah, 250 is quite a large number. It's the same as the dry dock structure components, but these whole components I think are slightly more expensive than the structure components. They are 16,000 steel, 4,000 LDS. The structure components are just 3,200 LDS, so slightly more expensive LDS and steel as well. There's nothing here really that's cheaper than up here, although the assembly components are actually a lot more expensive than they might appear on the surface. Oh, and the other thing that we are tracking, I guess, is the actual thrusters, the 100 thrusters that we need. We have 27 sitting there, 73 to go. We also have a special on Mark II armor. As you can see, we overbuilt by 10,000 because we don't need that anymore. Never mind, 10,000 spare Mark II armor. I'm sure it will come in handy one of these days. Now, yes, LDS is probably gasping for air. The one good thing about this is it will help plastic to go up, because as I'm sure I've mentioned before, we don't actually burn the light oil fast enough for our generation of plastic, unless we are, there you go, unless we are you know, burning off some of it as rocket fuel. So, I mean, once we're done with, I guess, launching lots of cheap components or satellites at the end of the research, we can ramp up the conversion of light to plastic, which I guess we will do. But meanwhile, there's only 60 more whole components to go. I don't know how well they are building. 7 to go, so they're actually building fairly quickly. But this is going to slow the whole launch profile down. That doesn't especially surprise me, the fact that there's a bunch of these sitting in here now. And in spite of our 220 per minute, you notice that modules is also on the list. There was no oil there though, was there? No. Silo fuel, that's amazing. There's no fuel sitting there. What about up here? There actually is. No, that's plastic. That's amazing, there's some plastic there. There is some fuel sitting there. So these guys should have gone of their own accord. Again, probably due to the location. I think it's looking for the... I think I've got 2 lots of rocket fuel, but I'm not sure what the second one is. Maybe not. Maybe rocket fuel is sufficiently close to the top that sometimes it just gets lost as well, but we'll have that fixed soon with a bit of luck. What else? What else? More launches, perhaps? More launches. At this rate, there's not a... There's quite a reasonable possibility that we will actually get to the point of the rest of the whole components are finished. That's kind of my hope. There's some other things in the factory that I'd like to show. For one thing, we got rid of these lights, the flashing lights. They do actually waste UPS having those lights, so we're probably running slightly faster because of it. Another sip of coffee, guys. $202. And just a moment. And back. So let's get back to that silo, which I believe was about to light us up, or we were about to light it up, or something of that nature. But yes, here we go, some more launches. We have another 8 plus 9, 17 plus 8, 25 or so. Is that right? 7. Oh, I don't know anymore. So it doesn't matter. But yes, when the components are using as many low density structures as these ones are, it's kind of inevitable that we have some level of difficulty in maintaining the launch rate. But we are going pretty well just at the moment. What's that, 208? We still have 5 on board the plane. 9 in storage apparently on that side. Another 8 there. 17, 24, plus the 8, that's 32. That would make sense. That would bring it up to 240. We're also building busily away with our thrusters at the moment. Thrusters, we have 29 of the 100 built. I think I really am suffering from the rate at which this is able to feed this machine. We really need a few more stack inserters, and then we could have crunched through these a little bit faster, but never mind. We may then have just run into more problems, especially with... oh, this looks like there's only 5 left. Still looking for LDS. And we're probably looking for some additional launches here in just a moment. Here you go, these 2 are ready. These ones are cycling. Now, if you're wondering why we have 8 silos, we're doing 12,000 SpaceX science per minute. So this factory is a 6,000 science or vanilla science factory per minute, which also means you need 6 rockets per minute. So that, in theory, would be 6 silos, right? Well, the problem is at maximum fill rate, a silo is able to turn around at exactly 61 seconds, which means if you have 6 silos, you cannot do 6 rockets per minute. You can only do 5.9 or whatever it is. I'm not going to try and do the calculation just at the moment, but yes, 5.9. So you need at least 7, and 7 would just look ugly, so we went with 8. And 8's quite cool because if they have stored up a little bit of buffer here ready to feed the machines, then you can launch a few at 8 per minute for a few minutes and impress your friends. So that's what that's kind of what we're doing. You guys are my friends and we're impressing you, hopefully, with our launch shenanigans. How's this going? Do we have any issue with O? We do. Let's just watch these 2 take off and I will give O another kick up its butt. I do hope at least there's something obvious. We know that when O gets in there, at the moment the way my mod is working, or sometimes not working quite as well as it should, when there's an O, it always just sits here instead of coming forwards. So if once I have done these changes we find that O's don't sit there, we know they've worked. So there's that. There's the advantage of an O that is not working the way you want it to. Here we go. There's only 30 more of these. We're already making a run. That's the other thing I forgot to do last time, was change the weight. So whole component, there you go, whole component equals 0. So I have actually fixed the whole condition. Are we about to launch again? Did we miss some? Don't worry, there's probably plenty more to come. We have I guess 8 plus 3 plus 1, we have about 12 more. It sort of doesn't make sense. Well, some of these are launching, so maybe it does, and this just needs a little bit of additional time to load. Perhaps that's what it is. And hopefully that printer in the background is not going to disturb you too much. My daughters are just printing off things, so there you go. Just a minute, guys. Let's just see this one off, and then I'll give my daughters the attention they're demanding. School holidays, that's what it's all about. Anyway, we're back. So let us see if we are about to miss launches or what. I don't know. I've kind of lost track of exactly how many they are. The thing is, as you can see by that and by that, there's actually two logistic zones here, so this one and this one do not swap over. That's what keeps the bot pathing very tight. We actually needed slightly more space here because of train tracks can only be placed in certain places, so they forced it to lock and leave a gap here. If we moved closer, the next closest position would have these actually as one. These guys would interconnect. So that's why we haven't. 234 of 250. I think there is enough for 6 more launches. There's no more in that zone. There's no more in that zone. 3. Oh, there's some that are launching from up here, so a little hard to keep track of things. But yes, there's 3 down here, so I think 2 more of these guys are full and about to take off, maybe. Or maybe not. I might have completely lost track of this between interruptions by the young ones, but never mind. So this will bring us up to 238 when these finally take off. And I'm not exactly sure what I've done to make FPS as attractive as that, but I'm good. I'm good with it, let me assure you. So that's 238. I think that is all. Don't think we have any more sitting around. So there's just 12 left to launch. Let's have a quick look where the whole components are up to. We have 10 on board. We have 2 to go. We're waiting on low density structures. Science is saying hurry up, so that will be interesting. The speed modules are still being called. That's speed 1, this is speed 3. So I have a, yes, this is a 383 full of speed modules. I have a slightly different way of building the speed modules to the productivity and the efficiency, and that is because these ones also use the speed 1s, so we actually shrink this a little bit, reduce the number of speed 1s in here, so that we can feed it from a speed 1 facility just up here. So that is the difference. Now, while this works pretty well, I would actually like to go to a 4 beacon version with everything, although not necessarily what I have been using. Like, this is what I've used everywhere, but for example, this is a perfect example of something, and I'd actually credit, I looked at Exterminator's review of the Clusterio, however you pronounce that, name of the mod that allows you to have lots and lots of servers all hooked up together. And one thing, some of the builds there, some of the good builds, there are builds of various quality, none terrible, but some I certainly won't be picking up on, let's put it that way, without being mean. It's just I prefer some of my builds or some of the other builds that were there to some of the ones that I saw, but certainly some of the good ones had this a little bit more condensed, where the side beacons would be moved in. It's still not as dense as you can do with just top and bottom, but with these sides moved in, you can actually squish these things together a whole lot more and get a lot more per row. And when you only need one side to get all the inserters that you need, which is pretty much both sets of these things, that could be quite beneficial. It would pull all this in a lot closer to where the action is, and let you get more of the sort of hemisphere that the bots like to travel in, rather than these rectangles that I ended up using because I wanted to get, you know, a few more machines in each block. So there you have it. And while I agree that they do fly these patterns, I'm not actually sure that it costs you that much more to go versus. It certainly does add up, though. You do notice the very short bot trips versus some of the longer bot trips. But anyway, let's head over to here. It is building. It's up to 248, so that means there's only 2, if not, we're basically at 1 to go. We have 10 on board. This is building number 11. We probably want to cut this demand here, because I don't know what we're going to build over here next, so I guess that's what I will do. Let's head over to #copper7, because I haven't renamed that station, since we're constantly changing the material here, but I should rename that station, so that we can disable ordering too much of the low density structures. We obviously need more than we have. We can probably disable ordering steel as well. We have plenty of steel. We don't need any. We don't need any more. We have enough steel to complete. We have 249. We only need 1600 steel. We need to definitely stop the steel. Here comes the LDS. We probably don't want another LDS here. We want to get there first. I don't know how far away we are. We're just up here. This is not something I can disable remotely. I do actually need to be down here to stop another one turning up. It's not the end of the world if another one does. We can always just turn the inserters around and have them feed the train back and reuse it that way. But it'll be slightly easier if we don't have to. It needs to get to 4,000. We easily have enough. We are there. Let's jump out. I don't want you ordering more, buddy. Whoops. Oh, that works too. And that works. So, let's jump on board so we don't get left behind. Yes, we're building the last one. 1 to go. As soon as that one's done, we should be on our way. Let us tell this train over here to meet us at the silo. Although that might not be the place that we actually want to get to, but let's just tell it to do that anyway. It's hard to tell how far through we are. All the steel that's getting loaded into this machine's kind of pointless, but never mind. 50 seconds to build this thing. And we're off. Oh, that's no good. Let's do a lap. The reason it is no good is because this hit 0 and then this took off. We need it to wait for that last one. As soon as that hit 0, this was good to go. Right. Let me just have a look. Are we going to get through here? We should do. Yes, we definitely should do. How's this going? Not bad, other than modules being in constant demand. We can't really ramp modules up any more than we have. I think most people consider my 220 of each type of level 3 to be fairly extreme already. So, yeah, I'm not really going to try and push that any further, but with a bit of luck, we'll stop just long enough to get the last one of these whole, yeah, it says fusion reactors, but they're actually whole components. A little bit of naming dyslexia. And off we go. This time. There we go, and we are headed to rocket cargo. And while we head there, let us, yes, go to map mode, pop over to our thrusters, and see how this one's going. 32, yeah. So the whole loading process here is taking a little bit too long. Maybe we can be thankful for that, so that LDS was able to be supplied to the rockets and to the whole components in sufficient number, so everything could work. But it would have been kind of nice to launch some thrusters this episode as well, but I guess that's not to be, but that's okay. I may just have to interfere with this whole thing and move these guys out here, and then I'm going to have to do an adjustment for the combinator for the number that have actually already been built, so that we don't build the wrong number, because who wants extra space thrusters, right? Of course, now that you can do more than one launch of the SpaceX rocket, maybe I should do 2 launches. Dear. Maybe not. Just a minute. And we are back. So my daughter had to give me a squishy. They've been making squishies. If you have no idea what those are, do not fret. Normal people have no idea what those are either. That shouldn't be in there. It can't get RC1 pickup, huh? Where are you? What are you trying to do? You are trying to get in to speed 1 red. So why don't you just do that instead of sitting there and getting confused? That's better. I don't know what its problem is, but never mind. Alright, let us... whoops, we didn't jump out. We were going to jump out. And that thing I actually probably want to send not to where it's going, because it's just going to hit there, bounce out and come back down here. But I guess we can always wait for the round trip. Here we are. We have just missed a launch while we were sorting out that issue, but never mind, you saw a heap of them. There's 4 to go. Let's hear these ones in full surround sound. Goodness. 2 down here, 2 up here. They're going to get to go at the same time. I have no idea. But we are very shortly going to go whole components, tick off the list. Very shortly indeed. We could even check this out. No, that one's already about to be in its launch cycle. In fact, all 8 of them are. Oh, this is annoying. I'll have to sort that out as well. Looks like we're getting these last 4 together, including a stupid autosave just at the wrong moment, but never mind. They're not actually stupid, they're kind of useful sometimes. But here we go. Completing the whole components. $250 whole components. All done. Now, whatever happened to this silly train? It's on its way back to rocket cargo. How about we don't go to rocket cargo, we instead come over here to DAS. Rocket cargo plus DAS. Can I get there? DAS. Circuit condition, go to DAS. There it is there. It looks like it will go to DAS. Circuit condition will make it just go and wait. Let us run off to DAS and see where we're at. Oh, that's just a thing opening its door, I think. So we want to head to the dry dock assembly, which probably needs a renaming as well. How are things here? Plastic's only 87k. We definitely have the capacity to go well over 100k, so I guess things are somewhat more under control. This is still doing its 200 a minute. While all that was going on, no problem. Science was still doing its 12k. Of course, there are productivity modules in the labs, which we're just going past. Oops. The labs, that's not labs, that is blue science. This is labs. There are productivity modules in the labs, so we're getting a 20% boost. This is all the labs that we have to do 12,000 science per minute. Just a few. A little bit longer than Star Wars opening title sequence. There you have it. One stack of 4 of these will do 6k per minute. Where are we up to? We're going up the side here. This is the iron that's mainly intended for Big Bro steel. Big Bro steel off to the side, of course. Not being tapped, really. Not being tapped. That's fine. This is the northeast oil stack. Each of these are completely independent units. At the moment, this is building. Well, this is like our plastic build, if you like. With the rocket fuel build being down in Southwest Oil, the one that keeps needing a little bit of a kick in the pants. Speaking of which, yes, it needs a kick in the pants right now. Let's just give it one. And we are here, back at our other build. And yes, this would be the train, the rocket cargo train. So, what are we up to? We are up to 34, with 66 to go. Guys, I think we'll leave it there. We've achieved a victory of sorts on hull components. Actually, before we do, I'll quickly show you, as I was mentioning, what we were going to look at. I fixed up all of this by just adding, remotely adding a bunch of new, hopefully they have, yes they do, some new mining drills here and along here and all the way down here, and I moved the RoboPort that was there and put some miners in there. This one here actually can be removed. You don't want any of this stuff just sitting around when you don't need it. It does waste your UPS, and I had to do the same over here, so that made this flow a lot better. We are getting quite close to needing to move this one. This one is dying. I need to actually attend to that, so that's just as well we're having this wrap up. Coal was another one. I am giving it a little bit of a nudge in the right direction. So this is a miner operating at 2.5 in vanilla. That's not bad. You can do faster, of course. There's room for more modules, but it was just this is all the beacons I had on me, so I threw them down, and you can see it's kind of overkill anyway, because there's only one train that comes here, and it's currently sitting in a stacker, so it's not really hurrying out to us. Oh, there was also a tiny little patch of coal here. I threw a miner on that. That one has gone, so it's just this 41k now left until we can get rid of coal. coal to up here, making any trips down this way at all. It is possible for coal, if you look at the priorities, coal will actually go to the coal weight, or the coal, or will come from coal weight or coal weight 2, and that means the C is round the other way, coal weight 2 or coal. That means that if this one needs extra coal, it can call for it from the stack down here, and vice versa, but this stack doesn't seem to be a problem at the moment. And it looks like it is actually asking for coal, and there is none there. It should work to pick up coal from the other one. Doesn't appear to be though. Maybe I'll give it a kick. Just goes to show the magnitude of the problem. There you go. It's going all the way to the other end of the base. But anyway, let's leave it there, guys. I need to do some work on this to speed it up so that we don't have this boot kicking requirement. And next episode we should be able to throw all of these guys up into space and move on, and possibly even finish up Faster Than Light Theory A at 16 million minute research. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Looking forward to seeing you in the next. Bye bye for now.